Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are ready to start our evening's proceedings. My name is Anne Marie Burke. I will be your Master of Ceremonies this evening for this very special award. I'd like to recognize the presence of Ms. Sandra Osborne, President of the Barbados Olympic Association, Inc. I also have Mr. Glenn Clark, who is the General Manager here at the Barbados Olympic Association. Mr. Neil Morrow, Director of Sport at the National Sports Council. Our nominees, Ms. Penny McIntyre, Andrea Nichols, and Diana Clark, who unfortunately could not be with us, should be represented today by Heather Walker. I also have presidents, secretaries, and directors of national federations, members of the BOA's Gender Equality Commission, members of the media, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, and also those joining us on our live stream on Facebook and YouTube. This is the 2024 edition of the Esther Maynard Icon Award. I must begin by telling you that we're seated in a very special area of the Barbados Olympic Association, the museum. As you look around, you see the rich history of our sport here in Barbados. More importantly, this evening, we focus on the women in sport. And here to welcome us to her home here at the BOA is none other than Miss Osborne, the president here at the BOA. Miss Osborne.
Thank you very much, Anne-Marie. I'm just looking around to count the men who were bold enough to turn up. There aren't too many of them, but anyhow, nevertheless, good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Barbados Olympic Association and And I see one fellow director here with me, Ms. Mona Aline. Also on behalf, and Dr. Sutherland, yes. Have I missed any other directors? No, I think I'm good, right? Okay, back in everybody's good books, I hope. And also on behalf of the management of the Barbados Olympic Association, represented here this evening by the General Manager, Mr. Glenn Clark, and members of staff of the Barbados Olympic Association. Also, I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the chair of the Gender Equality Commission and members of the commission, that chair being Marsha Boyce. So to friends in sport, all of you, and also those who are joining us on live stream on Facebook and YouTube, special good evening. I'm pleased to recognize our specially invited guest, Mr. Neil Murrell, Director of the National Sports Council, Mr. Ryan Brathwaite, Regional Development Manager, Americas and the Caribbean of the Commonwealth Games Federation, and Ms. Esther Maynard, the icon in whose honor this award was created, past award recipient, Mrs. June Rudder. Nominees for this year's award, Mrs. Penny McIntyre, Mrs. Andrea Nichols, and Mrs. Diana Clark. And of course, we understand that Diana could not be with us this evening, so I welcome Heather to represent her. Presidents and secretaries of national federations and members of the media. The significance of hosting this event in the month of March is that it gives us an opportunity to celebrate the achievements of women and join in the call to action for gender parity around the themes of International Women's Day, celebrated annually on March the 8th. This year's themes of Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress, and Inspire Inclusion are as relevant as ever to the work that we do for our women in sport. Indeed, we are guided by the strategic objectives relating to gender equality developed under the Olympic Agenda 2020+5, which focus on promoting women in sport at all levels and in all structures, in the same areas captured in the principles of the UN Women's Sport for Generation Equality Initiative. For us, though, it is about focusing on the areas relevant to our situation. I am pleased that the BOA Commission, responsible for promoting the participation of women and girls in sport, has been renamed the Gender Equality Commission, following the lead of the International Olympic Committee, which renamed its own Women in Sport Commission as the Gender Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Commission back in 2022. An important aspect of our rebranded commission's focus is to look forward and to look back. Looking forward, it continues to support and empower women and girls in their journey in sport, whether it be on or off the field of play, as athletes, leaders, coaches, technical officials, sports journalists, community leaders, educators, or any other role, while at the same time advocating for gender balance across the spectrum of everything that we, as a National Olympic Committee, are mandated to do. Looking back, the Commission, through this award, recognizes excellence and the outstanding contributions of women who have blazed and continue to blaze a trail in sport. This is what this award, the Esther Maynard Icon Award, inaugurated in 2020, is all about. It was on International Women's Day in 2020 that we recognized our dear Esther as an icon in sport and created this award in her name to recognize annually our female icons contributing to sport. Of course, March 2020 was significant in that it was in that month that our lives were put on pause. But resilient as the women whom the Commission honors, we were able to continue with an online celebration of our next recipient, Kathy Harper Hall, in 2021 during the lockdown. Unfortunately, Kathy cannot be with us this evening because of regional duties. Then we were back to an in-person celebration of Sonia O'Neill in 2022 and June Rudder in 2023. We must especially remember the contribution to sport of Sonia, whose untimely passing last month has left a void in swimming, locally, regionally, and internationally. This evening, the 2024 award recognizes the 5th recipient. For the first 3 years of this award, the selection of the winner was internal to the BOA. But from 2023, the Commission sought nominations from our affiliated national federations. In my view, this was an improvement, and I think that the Commission is to be congratulated for this initiative, because the national federations are closer to the persons contributing to their sport. Nominations, of course, mean that only one person can win, but often all the nominees are outstanding in their own right. So as we celebrate the winners, we must also acknowledge the significant contributions of the runners-up. Last year, these were Marlene Hall and Yaima Payne, and we will soon find out who they are for 2024. But all of these ladies deserve our recognition and appreciation for their role in sport. It is therefore not surprising that all the nominees exemplify qualities similar to those of the person in whose honor this award was created. And every year when I am asked to stand here, I say these words, what can I say about Esther? And it would go on and on and on. I think we all know that she has really, I think, set the tone for what we are looking for this award. So when one reads the resumes of the nominees, there is no doubt that sport is in good hands, and the next generation of leaders would be well advised to emulate these remarkable role models who have in multiple ways uplifted so many young boys and girls by offering them the opportunity to compete and excel. Their example shows the power of sport. As I extend congratulations to this evening's winner and runners-up on your well-deserved award and/or nomination, the following quotation readily comes to mind. The heroes standing with me are examples of this power. They are valiant not only in the playing field, but also in the community, both local and international. They are champions, and they deserve the world's recognition. These thoughtful words, of course, were spoken by Mandela about the power of sport, and fittingly describe the contributions of our honorees, or as he prefers to call them, heroes and champions. Thank you all for taking the time to share this special occasion with us, and I look forward with anticipation to the winner.
Thank you so much, Ms. Osborne, for those words. As you mentioned, this award serves to look at the outstanding achievements and celebrate the outstanding achievements of the women in sport here in Barbados. And this is obviously piloted by none other than the now former Women in Sport, now the Gender Equality Commission. And the chair is Marcia Boyce. I now invite her to the podium to offer her words. Thank you very much, Anne-Marie. I stand on the protocol that has been established, but let me issue a special welcome to our icons, Mrs. Maynard and Ms. Rudder, as well as our nominees this evening. Now, when we consider the journey of these women in sports over the last few decades, we cannot speak about the current state of play without considering the contributions of women who, through their passion for human development, have set the tone for what is considered excellence and philanthropic work in service to others. With sport as their vehicle, they've paved the way for development of their respective disciplines in Barbados and have become iconic across the sporting community. The purpose of this award, as you heard from Ms. Osborne, is to salute and celebrate women like these. It is no wonder now that these three ladies, Diana Clark in the sport of equestrian,
Penny McIntyre in sailing, and Andrea Nichols in hockey are being recognized as nominees for this year's Esther Maynard Icon Award. As we salute them this evening, you will hear tributes in their honor and learn about their contributions, and learn that these contributions were not only limited to women in sport. They have been tutors, advocates, and educators to athletes, to coaches. They've been parent liaisons, trailblazers in administration. They're beacons on the pathway to gender equality, highlighting that while there might be some biological difference in sport, we all can be equally invested, committed, and rewarded. As you heard, as of February this year, the Barbados Olympic Association's Women in Sport Commission evolved into the Gender Equality Commission, with the continued mandate of supporting and empowering women and girls while also advocating for gender equity in all aspects of sport, striving for gender balance in what we do. Now, this focus will not only be reflected in our advisory capacity to the BOA Board of Management on gender equality related matters, but also in our activities for the remainder of this year. These activities include 2 initiatives targeting boys and girls, respectively, aiming to assist with their development as people on and off the field of play. Additionally, as we note the disparity in the number of females operating at the highest level of governance, we also aim to deliver an initiative catering to young female leaders and aspiring leaders in sport. As it relates to increased visibility and raising the profile of women in sport, our ongoing Her Stories video project seeks to do just that. It was only fitting that the series began with Mrs. Esther Maynard, after whom this prestigious award is named. We will capture the stories and chronicle the journeys of our women leaders, administrators, athletes, and other support personnel through their own eyes while they're still with us. Through Her Stories, we want to preserve in a digital format the history and contributions of our women who have impacted sport in Barbados and beyond. The evolution of the Gender Equality Commission and the general ethos behind it is not just a reflection of changes in the international landscape, but if you think about it, you can also see it in the work of tonight's awardees, the work they have committed to, ensuring that no one was left behind. Before we had the formality and regulatory framework that is now Safe Sport, many of our female coaches, managers, and administrators were working to ensure they created safe spaces for athletes to thrive in, that they were free to engage and felt a little social, mental, and potentially criminal injustice in sport, already putting into practice what is now seen as the international standard. It is because of this foundational work done by women like our icons and this year's nominees that we understand the legacy upon which we stand. Their work highlights the major themes captured in the 2024 International Women's Day celebrations: a vision to inspire inclusion, a push to invest in women in order to accelerate progress. It was interesting for me that on being notified of their respective selections, each woman expressed genuine surprise at being considered for a nominee of this award. Their respective bodies of work, however, and their extensive contributions tell a different story. So tonight, we want to promote and honor them as Barbadian women of sport. We recognize their purpose, their determination, their tenacity, and their legacy in building sporting programs that essentially served the national sporting community. Whether you may be aware of it or not, your involvement in sport has been impactful, not only in Barbados, but beyond. May you continue to stand as an inspiration for others like myself that we can follow. Congratulations to our 2024 nominees. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Marsha. As mentioned, this is now our 5th year of nominations and 5th year of the award. In 2022, Miss Sonia O'Neill, now the late Miss Sonia O'Neill, would have been awarded for her outstanding work in swimming both locally, regionally, and internationally. This evening we have a reflection on that day when she was awarded the Icon Award for her contribution.
One thing I learned from her is that, you don't necessarily take the popular or the popular approach, but you do what's right and what you believe is right for the sport of swimming. So I've taken that approach in my own businesses as well. And she's always been for the swimmers and really trying to push the sport of swimming and water polo and the other aquatic sports forward in Barbados. And, I just want to say thanks for that.
You are the reason I am a swim coach today and the reason I have my own swim club to this day. You have always made sure that we as swimmers were recognized, we were acknowledged. You were always making sure that when we go overseas, we respected other cultures, embraced them as well. I have so many instances where you will always say, well, Kira, as a female in the sport, how you carry yourself, how you speak makes a difference. You have shown that women can be in charge and rule without being less feminine in any form or fashion.
As a young female in sports, Miss O'Neill has always been an inspiration for me. She has always encouraged and supported my professional development as a female swimming coach. If I have any questions or in need of any advice, she's just a phone call away, day or night. Her path wasn't always smooth, and there were many obstacles and hurdles in her path, which she overcame. But seeing all the things she's accomplished over the years has been very motivating and pushes me to always strive for excellence in everything I do.
I'd also like to thank the BOA and the Women in Sport Commission for selecting me for the prestigious award, the Esther Maynard Icon Award. Esther's shoes are very, very big shoes to fill. It was very interesting hearing all of the tributes that were made this evening, especially by the athletes, and to kind of reflect on what the impact that the little bit that I try to contribute did to them. And I'm very grateful that they benefited from some of the things I said.
Indelible mark not only on the sport of swimming, but on us all here in Barbados City sporting fraternity. Thank you so much, Miss O'Neill, and may she continue to rest in peace. I now turn it over to Hashim Jurat, who will have a musical selection for us. You need the mic? You need it? Okay. forgot the microphone. Thank you. So much. As mentioned, we have three nominees this year from three different sports. And before we even meet the nominees themselves, we have to know a little bit about them. And I start with our first nominee, Diana Clark from Equestrian. I invite Heather Walker to give us, she's the secretary of the Barbados Equestrian Association, to give us a citation on behalf of Miss Clark.
Good evening, everybody, and a very warm good evening to our icons and to the nominees. First, please let me, sorry. Better? Please first let me apologize on behalf of Diane today. She is actually attending the wedding of one of her former students this evening, but she's very honored to be here in spirit. Diana Clark, or Auntie Di, as she is known by her students and friends, has been an instrumental figure in the development of equestrian sport in Barbados for over 50 years. Thanks to her passion and commitment to coaching, many of her students have gone on to successfully represent Barbados at national, regional, and international competitions. Di's aim has always been to impart to her students the fundamentals of the sport, no matter the discipline, whether it be show jumping, dressage, eventing, gymkhana, a jockey or two, and helping to mold our youngsters into responsible adults with strong moral compasses. Horsemanship, caring for and bonding with your horse, has always been at the forefront of Di's teachings. Di first started volunteering and teaching at Edgerton Stables as a youngster. As her experience grew, she then decided to start on her own and open her own stables. The ever-enterprising Di borrowed money from her father to start the stables, which she then paid back over the years by making desserts at 4 a.m. in the morning before stable duties, meaning horses whinnying very loudly to be fed came calling. Although her stable started out with only 2 students, this didn't deter Di, as first and foremost, it has always been about the love of horses and teaching of kids. Those who know Di have often heard her say that the biggest reward for her is helping and seeing her students develop into mature and well-rounded citizens. Indeed, Auntie Di was never shy of a little tough love now and then, but this was always done out of the goodness of her heart and with the students' best interest in mind. The discipline of our sport, or indeed any sport, can only build character, win or lose, and Di was always conscious that she was helping to mold young hearts and minds as they passed through her stables. She has always reminded her girls and boys that the result at the end of the day is not necessarily the most important thing once they've given of their best and played the sport fairly. As her stables has grown over the years and evolved into the much-loved Big C stables that we have today, Di has managed to create a family within the stables that even many of her former students remember to this day and look back on fondly. She has been like a second mother to many. Big C also for many years offered riding opportunities for children with disabilities in connection with the Development Centre. Unfortunately, this was discontinued after Nicole Babbage went overseas. As mentioned earlier, over the years, many of Di's students have gone on to successfully compete on the international circuit. These include Emily Kinch, who has ridden at both the CAC and Pan American Games, and Kelsey Bailey, who's also represented Barbados at the Youth Olympic Games. All of her past students have credited Di for their start in the sport and remember their many years of riding at Big C with fond memories. For the past 40 years, Di has also been an administrator of the sport through various positions on the Barbados Equestrian Association, including as both president and jumping chairperson amongst many varying roles. She has been a long-standing champion of the education of riders, coaches, and officials, and through her overseas connections has facilitated riders being invited to and traveling to competitions in the US, Europe, South America, and also within the Caribbean. These have been invaluable learning opportunities for her students and provided them with experiences that they may not have been able to access otherwise. Di was also one of the founders and the president for many years of the Caribbean Equestrian Association, which, amongst other initiatives, allowed for kids to travel to member islands to compete against each other in show jumping on borrowed horses. Many of these kids have gained lifelong memories and friendships from these trips. While the travel aspect is no longer included, the competition is still run today in the member islands with the scores tabulated and the islands ranked based on results. And both the BA and the CA have also been pushing for the education of judges officials and stewards, and we're happy to say that we do have our own FEI judge, Ms. Shakira Emtich. Finally, Di has always been a pillar of strength in our sport, a true ambassador for the island, an incredible educator, and a selfless giver who has given of her time to people and horses. Di's passion and willingness to lead by example have made her a great leader in our sport, and her willingness to keep going for the betterment of the sport is infectious. Di often comments that she has enjoyed seeing our sport grow and being a part of that growth, but the rest of us in the sport know that much of that growth could not have happened without her many, many contributions over the years. Thank you so much for considering Di as a nominee for the Esther Maynard Icon Award. She is very honored to have been nominated. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Heather. I remember when Heather was just a little tiny tot and she was there at Big C Stables with Di right by her side going around in the ring as I was filming it. Now to see her standing here to do that citation says a lot. I also have a little story about Di for myself. I decided to be one day spontaneous and do a stand-up for a story on a horse at Big C Stables. And Di was the person to mount me onto the horse. As I got on and my feet hit onto the horse, I said, "It's warm." She said, "It's alive." And that's when I was like, okay. You're just so accustomed to the horses that you ride at the Coney Islands and stuff. So when I actually got onto the live horse, she was like, it's alive though. Thank you so much, Heather. Our next nominee comes from sailing. Miss Renata Goodridge is going to come now and do the citation for Miss Penny McIntyre.
Good evening, everybody. It's a real honor to be here. Let me just get myself sorted here. Thank you. Penny McIntyre has been a part of the Barbados Sailing Association youth sail training program since the early 1990s, which was initially located at Brighton Beach. I don't know if anybody of you remember or recall when the boats used to go out, the mirrors and the small dinghies used to sail out from there. She has held roles as the shore mom to all of the children as they arrived and left every single day of sail training throughout each summer. And that hasn't really changed. Although Penny says, I'm not doing this, I don't need to be there. Inevitably, if I go down to the club, I will see Penny there with the kids at some point in time. And for the last easily several, I want to say probably more like 10 years, Penny has been driving the safety boat out on the water for every dinghy regatta that we have in Carlisle Bay. She has affectionately named the boat Lucy, and everybody knows it by that name. So we know exactly who she's talking about when she talks about Lucy. Working her way up the ranks, Penny has been voted into several positions on the board of the Barbados Sailing Association, from director to president. She was recognized for her consistent and admirable dedication to the BSA and became executive officer in 2013 in order for her to better represent sailing at all levels of the sport, including local, regional, and international. Penny has been the lead of a small handful of volunteers that have helped to raise the Barbados Sailing Association up to better standards and visions, all the while maintaining a positive appearance and attitude. She has and continues to be the lead safety officer on the water, as I said, for every dinghy race, and Penny holds a special place in the hearts of our female youth sailors, who have always looked up to her for advice and support, excuse me, especially when they are unsure of the direction to go with respect to the sport of sailing and in life. Penny has traveled to all overseas regattas when our female youth sailors were participating, being sure of their safety and security at all times. And I must say that the male cohorts were equally happy that she was traveling with them as well, and this has not changed over the years. Penny has most recently encouraged 2 female youth sailors, the age of 15 and 16, to become more involved in sailing administration and race committee roles, which is allowing them to grow both in the sport, in their schoolwork, and in their personal lives. She is truly a mainstay for our sailing community. Taking on a management role in the hosting of World Championships was a natural transition for Penny due to her background in stage management and classical theater. Over a period of 9 years, 6 world championships in sailing were successfully hosted here in Barbados, bringing in hundreds of sailors to our shores and putting Barbados's name on the world map as a top-notch sailing and racing destination. Penny competed locally and regionally for 24 years with her 30-foot keelboat J-Star. She led a team of women to the Caribbean Women's Regatta in St. Martin for 3 years running in the early 2000s. If they were still running that regatta, we would still be going. I could guarantee you. Maybe it's time for us to start one. Penny has been the team leader for sailing for 7 Central American and Caribbean Games and for Pan American Games. In an extremely male-dominated sport, Penny has sat on the board of the Caribbean Sailing Association and continues to be a member of World Sailing's Regions and Development Committee and the Women's Forum Committee, and has twice been voted in as president and treasurer of the Pan Am Sailing Federation. In 2023, Penny most recently represented Pan Am Sailing in Panama City at the Pan Am Sports Women in Sport Continental Seminar under the theme Join the Road for Change. As always, upon returning home to Barbados, Penny willingly shares her knowledge with sailors of all ages and ranks. Penny has always been a keen advocate for equality, both on the water and off. She makes every effort to gain more knowledge in order to better aid the sport of sailing. Penny has immersed herself in administration courses, anti-doping workshops, coaching workshops, and most recently in a safeguarding in sport course. The Barbados Sailing Association and the sport of sailing are so much better defined, managed, and organized due to Penny's longtime commitment to her passion for sailing. We will continue to recognize and applaud all of her efforts to create long-term sustainability in the sport of sailing, most especially recognized through her ongoing commitment to gender equality and youth sailing. I want to thank you so much for hearing this.
Thank you so much, Renata and Penny. I'm sure that you enjoy sailing those seas of Barbados and taking our sailing beyond these shores into other shores as well. Thank you so much. Our final nominee is Miss Andrea Nichols. And Miss Nichols, I know her as an educator. She's been there throughout the years, especially with the girls from Springer, making sure that they're well equipped for BSAT, but more importantly on the hockey field in every capacity you can think of. And now I invite Charlotte Warner Franklin to read her citation on behalf of Miss Nichols.
Good evening, everyone. With protocol already established, thank you for giving us the opportunity to have Miss Nichols, a very deserving opportunity to be a nominee. Miss Andrea Nichols is an all-round hockey stalwart and sporting icon in Barbados, a former national hockey athlete, international hockey umpire, hockey technical official, player, national hockey coach, educator, and sports administrator. Miss Andrea Nichols spent her formative years in England, but returned to Barbados in the early 1970s and was a student athlete at the Springer Memorial Girls' School. She left Springer as a student in August 1972 and returned that September as a teacher. Under her dedicated and enthusiastic leadership, Springer excelled in several sports and soon dominated schools' hockey and volleyball. Under Miss Nichols in the 1990s, Springer Memorial became an athletic powerhouse, recording top performances in several sports. The girls of Government Hill, St. Michael, soon won the prestigious Barbados Secondary School Athletic Championship for several years, a legacy which continued throughout the years. Miss Nichols joined Empire Club in 1972 and shared her talent and love for sports with Empire, where she played volleyball and netball, but hockey continued as her true love, and she went on to captain the hockey team and was a player coach. Miss Nichols, Mama Nick, Andrea, went on to represent Barbados in hockey as an athlete and joined her national playing career, which spanned from 1973 to 1989, 16 years. The multi-talented Miss Nichols played many positions, including goalkeeper. Miss Nichols represented Barbados at numerous tournaments in Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, Mexico, the USA, and the Bahamas, and was eventually captain of the Barbados women's hockey team in 1979. Andrea was a member of the bronze medal winning Barbados hockey team of the Central American and Caribbean Championship in 1980 in Mexico as an unafraid and exceptional goalkeeper. This was the first senior female medal won by a Barbados women's hockey team. During that same year, Ms. Nichols gained a selection on a regional Caribbean team which participated in the International Hockey Federation Diamond Jubilee Tournament in Scotland. After her international playing career, Ms. Nichols went on to become Barbados' first female FIH umpire in Cuba in 1990. And post her retirement from international umpiring, she became more heavily involved in coaching at both youth and national levels. She has both coached and assisted numerous hockey teams, including Empire Club, Combined Schools, and the junior national teams and senior national teams. Beginning at Empire Club, Ms. Nichols ran a hockey youth program for over 30 years, and many current and former players, including myself, are in debt to you for our success. Her program expanded beyond Empire Club and made its way to the Hockey Center in Wildy, where her youth group expanded. She has spearheaded Empire Club Sports Camp, which provided a much-needed youth development community framework for its time. Over many years of youth coaching, Ms. Nichols has facilitated overseas hockey tours and has been an integral part in several of Barbados' girls receiving hockey scholarships to the U.S., colleges, and universities. Miss Andrea Nichols has an undeniable passion for women and girls in sports and has been an advocate for equal opportunity and equal development. She has worked with female national teams as a national coach for over 20 years, particularly working with female goalkeepers and female national teams. She conceptualized and executed the Play Like a Girl Hockey Day initiative in 2018, which saw over 40 girls from various secondary schools aged between 11 and 15 participated in a program and learned how to play hockey and sports and using hockey as a sport as a tool for social, professional, and personal development, and how sports can be an avenue for women and girls. All the coaches and facilitators were deliberately chosen as women to showcase the possibilities for women in sports. This initiative was successfully held again in 2019, but suspended due to the pandemic in 2020. As an administrator, Ms. Nichols has served as a vice president and floor member in the now defunct Barbados Women's Hockey Association, as well as the current Barbados Hockey Federation. Miss Andrea Rady Nichols was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 2017 for her sterling contributions to the sport. In her professional teaching career, Ms. Nichols went on to become an education officer with the Ministry of Education with responsibilities for physical education. She retired from this role in 2021. Though slowed by recent health challenges, Ms. Nichols continues to support the development and growth of women and girls at the sport of hockey in Barbados for nearly 5 decades and counting. Ms. Nichols, I personally salute you. The Hockey Federation salutes you. And we are so happy that we were given the opportunity to nominate you. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Nichols.
Thank you so much, Charlia. Now, one of the things that I realized ran through every single one of the citations was that every lady had a motherly nickname. So, Diana is Di. Penny is Lucy after her boat. And Miss Nichols is Mama Nix. Because women tend to bring that motherly role as well into sport and take us as athletes under their wings, not only telling us and teaching us about the techniques, but also we can go to them about anything related to life. And that's the uniqueness of how women bring that to sport, something that unfortunately men don't. It's at this time that I invite Ms. Marsha Boyce, the chair of the Gender Equality Commission, to present our nominees with tokens of appreciation. I begin with Heather. Can you just come and receive this one on behalf of Diana? I now invite Penny for her award. And Miss Nichols. Thank you, ladies. And now it's time for us to find out just who is this year's recipient of the 2024 Esther Maynard Icon Award. And of course, it's my pleasure to introduce the lady who the award is named after to come and offer her remarks and to let us know just who that recipient is.
Ladies and gentlemen, it would be remiss of me just to announce it, but I want to congratulate all of the nominees and to say that I sat there absolutely enthralled. I've known all of these ladies for many years. My daughter was in equestrian, taught by Di. My son was into sailing for a short time, down at Brighton, so I understood what went on. And Andrea, I would have to write a book on you. Having witnessed all the things that you've done, I was still absolutely in awe of all the things that have been said today about the recipients. I really want to congratulate the Olympic Association on their whole foresight in instituting this award, not because I got it the first time, but there are so many people that have never been recognized, or you get the odd person being recognized. But this is a concerted effort where we have loads of women, and we hope there will be men, that have done sterling jobs as ambassadors, as everything that you've heard tonight. And I want to congratulate all of you, as unfortunately there can only be one winner, and the recipient of the award for this year is none other than Andrea.
Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for this honor, and she is my hero, so she will understand. I can't talk very well as a result of the stroke, But thank you very much, everybody.
All right. Congratulations to you, Miss Nichols. And Miss Nichols did prepare for us a video on a reflection of her journey throughout the years.
It is really hockey, but I was teaching at Springer for a number of years, all of my life actually, and I was part of that PE program that got us to the ladder. I coach hockey. I was an under-21 coach, I was a senior coach. I coached at every level. Well, my journey in sports was mainly hockey. I was a coach, still am, but I can't do it anymore. And I would say it was difficult. As a player, I found it easy. We were part of the Empire team of the 80s and the 70s who were unbeaten in all divisions. We used to be called Charlie's Angels. Well, that was an enjoyable time. It was really fulfilling. I had people like Julie Grant, Sandra Jones, Sharon Howell, Rosanna Warner, and they backed me and everything. So we were able to pull off numerous victories. When I was playing sports, I don't think that we were appreciated because it was like you're a tomboy. But now we have the girls' cricket, we have football, and it's kind of accepted more. I feel very good. It's an honor. I want to thank God for my life because those of you who don't know, I had a stroke, so I was nearly out of it. And Esther Maynard, she is one of my heroes, and she's very, how could I say, responsive towards my things. And she herself was a hero.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nichols, and again, congratulations. I now invite Hassim back to give us a second musical tribute. Thank you so much, Hassim. I now invite Miss Mona Aline, who is a member of the Gender Equality Commission, to offer the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. In this small, intimate setting that we are in, I've been given a very simple task, and that is to say thank you. But I'm going to do it in a specific order because I think that is the way it is supposed to be done. So I'm starting with Madam President. Thank you for your kind words and inspired words also at the start of the proceedings. I want also to thank Marsha Boyce, the chairperson of the Gender Equality Commission. I still find it difficult to accept gender equality because I really, really grew up in women in sport. But that's only me. And Esther Maynard. The reason for us being here and the reason for your presence and your inspiration to all of us women who would have had at least some kind of interaction with you over the years, and the kind of impact that you would have left with all of us, and your manner, your personality, always willing to educate, always willing to say it is to be done this way, but never quarrel, never raising your voice. Thank you. Where's number 4? The icons who were being listed before. I want to say in absentia for those, except for June, who's present, Kathy Harper Hall, Sonia O'Neill, the late Sonia O'Neill, and June Rudder, who is here. Thank you again for accepting the honor that we would have bestowed on you. And to our nominees for 2024, Diana Clark and Heather Walker, Penny McIntyre, and Andrea Nichols, but I'm going to leave you for last. I have some other things to say about you. Charlier, thank you for reading that citation that you gave earlier. Our MC, Anne-Marie Burke. Anne-Marie, you look so much different in person, as I see you most on television all the time. But thank you for guiding us through the evening and ensuring that we were following the program as is. Thank you again. I want also to thank the members of the commission, led by Marsha Boyce, chairperson. I wouldn't say she's a hard taskmaster, but she ensures that we meet and we do what we're supposed to do, and she's very thorough in her operation, and we try very much to follow the regulations that she has set. Thank you, Marsha. Other members of the media who were present, photo, video, streaming, I've put you in that order. Thank you very much for this, for sharing this evening's presentation in your various components that you work with, so that those who are watching online may be able to follow as we conduct the actual session here. There may be some persons that I would not have mentioned, but I want also to mention the other members of the commission who are present. Our CEO, Glenn Clark, and the other members of the commission who are here, and those other persons who were specially invited. Vanisha Cadogan, in charge of the Olympic Academy, and the other persons who are on the committee who are present and would have contributed to all of this work that has been put into this little intimate gathering, as I said. We've celebrated the contribution of our women, and as it says, invest in women, accelerate achievements. In the past, we were not able to do a lot of that, but again, we've come a long way, and the extensive contributions that these persons have contributed has done a lot for us women who are still able to make a contribution, and for the ones who are coming through behind us, who we too are trying to give information to. I know the qualities of consistency coming through, dependability, but most of all the education aspect of it that everybody was responsible for in their individual sports. I can say congratulations especially to Andrea. I met Andrea many years ago at Earlston College as student teacher. She was 1 year ahead of me, but I also met her on the hockey field. I was playing for Spartan, and she always was a member of the Empire Club, and she was a formidable opponent. You couldn't get past Andrea with a ball no matter how hard you tried. But I tried still. But she was there building and growing the Empire Club. We further went on to work with BSAC. I was secretary of BSAC as a PE teacher. Andrea continued her role in physical education. Then she moved on to the Ministry of Education when I went on further to the Sports Council. But Andrea, I am honored to be here tonight in your presence with this contribution. And I wish God's blessing on you and hope you continue to improve in your health. I want to leave the evening, leave this small few words for everybody. I came across it only today as I was cleaning my phone, you wouldn't believe it. Aging adds years to life. Growing adds life to years. So live your life and forget your age. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Aline. And on that note, this brings us to the end of the 2024 Icon Award. And I do want to thank each and every one of you for coming out to our nominees and to our Icon for 2024. Congratulations to you all. I'm sure you will continue in your various sports, in whether administratively or maybe sometimes going on the field of play. You never know. But thank you all, and to everybody, good evening and be safe. Thank you.